I thought it would be cool to give some of my own personal testimonies on things I felt that were confirmations to me. And so many people are doing this right now that, I don't know, just felt kind of led to share, I guess. In 2019, just before COVID hit, I received a word from God while I was at work. And I was just sitting by myself having lunch. And all of a sudden, he showed up, and I remember where I was sitting and him saying very clearly, something is about to happen. Something that you are not going to like, and it's not good. Things will not be the same after this. Everything's going to change, basically, is what he told me. And I was like, okay, how do I know what it is that you're talking about? Like, how will I know what it is? And he said, you'll know when you see it. And I said, should I tell anybody about this, what you told me? And he said, no, keep it a secret for now. So it was like that same week, or maybe the next week, a very short amount of time passed before, sure enough, COVID broke out. And I knew exactly then that that's what he was trying to tell me about, that it was COVID, because nothing was the same after that, and it affected everything, the whole world. So that was a big moment for me when God really warned me about something big that would happen. And I hadn't really felt in my spirit something of that magnitude, that unsettled feeling that I had felt at that time, like that, until years later. Last year in 2024, I was receiving a lot of visions of the 3 days of darkness. And I really believed that the 3 days of darkness was going to happen last year because of how many visions I was receiving. And I was telling people about it, like, I really think something's going to happen, or at least that's going to come. Something's going to happen, like, for me to keep receiving visions about this and more. And I don't know, something big's going to happen. I felt it in my spirit. A lot of things happened, definitely a lot of signs, and a lot of things progressed, but nothing like I had expected happened yet. So here we are now, and I keep running into all these believers who are prophesying that, having received visions and dreams, that they believe the 3 days of darkness are going to happen just before the rapture. It makes sense in my mind, depends on how you look at it, but it would make sense to me that this is just my point of view. What I feel God is confirming in my spirit from what he shared with me and other people was that it would make sense if this was a final sign to people to repent while there's still time before the real event occurs. This is like a precursor. When my brother first made me aware of everything that's going on right now with people bringing forward confirmations and testimonies and all the signs right now, and how everything's lining up biblically with the scriptures, at first I was skeptical hearing it all, because I was indoctrined in the belief, like most, that the rapture was something that you can predict. Lo and behold, it seems that that's not the case. If you still aren't sold on that, I understand, but I remember something very specific God had shared with me when I was first learning to meditate and hear God's voice. I was about 15, I believe, 15, 16 years old. And I was meditating outside. I remember it very clearly, where I was sitting and journaling, writing down what I felt God was sharing with me. And I was asking him about my future. A lot of things that I was questioning that I should be doing, spending my time doing, and what my future really looked like. And I just wanted to do what was right because I felt, even at that time, that God was coming back soon and that He was preparing me and my family for something. And I said, I was asking Him, God, are you coming back soon? Like, how should I really be spending my time? What should I be doing? Because I have things I want to do, music, career, maybe potentially have a family down the road. I don't know. Like, what do you say about all this? And I remember He said some things, but the most important thing that I never forgot that He said was, if you were to remain on this earth by the time I return, you would be in your early 30s, around the age of 31 or 32, I believe is what He said. I could have heard wrong if He was meaning to say 32 or 33, or I'm just not remembering. But if the prophecies come true, and I believe that they do if they're truly aligned, if the rapture happened in September and the tribulation unfolded from here on out, and we land in 2032 with the Lord returning, I would be about 32 or 33 if the Lord returned in September. I would be 32 before then, because my birthday is in August. It's actually August 24th, believe it or not. But I would be, around the age of 32, 33. At the time that He gave me that message, I wasn't sure what exactly He was talking about. Whether He was talking about, meaning saying I will return as in I will rapture my church, or I will come back to rule and reign. In my mind, I think I was pretty certain He was talking about coming back to rule and reign. But again, I wasn't sure, and I forgot to ask more about that. I forgot about that confirmation, that meditation over the years. But I didn't really remember that until all of this happening now. And then it finally clicked in my mind. I was like, okay, I see what you mean now, God. You really were telling me about your second coming. And that's what you were meaning. That's when you're coming back. And it cleared up a lot of confusion in my mind, making me realize, oh, I was getting caught up with a lot of people in the belief, other believers who were thinking that we had more time. I got really distracted at the beginning of this year, had more going on than I probably ever had at one point in my life, I would say. Or, since last year. I've just been busier than ever. And a lot of distractions, but I was beginning to believe that maybe we had more time than I anticipated. Maybe we had a few more years, 4, 5, maybe 6 years. But I didn't even take into account just forgetting about, I think, the rapture entirely, or just thinking we had more time before the rapture. And so when I realized this, I'm like, okay, that explains why last year I was feeling so unsettled in my spirit, that something was going to happen. And God kept showing me numbers. He kept showing me things, trying to make me see like different number patterns. And I know He was trying to make me see and trying to make me warn of what the rapture that was about to happen now. I just didn't know it at the time, but I knew something was coming. But then I got really distracted and I just kind of forgot about it and didn't even think about the rapture. And now it totally makes sense that the rapture would be happening, and that God really did warn me ahead of time, or laid out the years if I just like maybe realized sooner, he laid out the years just there. I could have, if I had known at the time, I could have calculated and said, oh, I really only have this many years left. But I just, if you don't know what you don't know, you know? So just before my brother told me about all this, it was in July. It really started in June. My life was totally thrown into chaos, similar to the chaos that I went through in my late teens when I had a whole existential crisis and chronic illness, and my life was seriously threatened. But the stress I was going through was very similar to that, and it was in such a short period of time from the beginning of June till like towards the end of July. So much was going on and had happened that I was in shock. But it wasn't just the shock and the stress and everything that I was going through. There was something else, something very unsettling in my spirit. And I kept asking myself, what is going on? What is going on? For not only the things that are happening in my life right now, but that I can't make up, that's just happened so quickly. But what is going on in the world right now? Because I don't feel right at all in my spirit. I never felt such unsettlement in my spirit. And usually, God's been warning me. He came to me quite often last year, and he would say, like he said in 2019, something is about to happen, something is about to come. And I wasn't always sure what it was, whether I missed it or whether I saw it whenever it would happen, but he said it very often, more so than any year last year. He was saying that just off and on to me. Something is about to happen. And I knew if he had done that to me in 2019 before COVID happened, that something else was on the horizon. So after feeling such unsettlement in my spirit, and then I ended up talking with my dad after my brother about all this, he was literally asking himself the same question, seeing all of the disasters and signs going on in the world right now. Literally saying, what is going on? Same question I was asking myself. Something is very wrong. And I knew it was this once my brother told me. I'm like, this would explain why I felt this just disconnect from the world, just wanting to leave, feeling like things are not going to get better. Things are just going to get worse if I stay. I need to escape this reality. I need to get out. I don't see how things are going to get better. Things here are just going to get darker and worse, and I need to get out. That's how I was feeling, and I couldn't describe it. I was like, maybe I'm just so I'm just throwing a pity party to myself for all the bad experiences. That's all the things that I deemed bad at the time that was happening to me. I'm just complaining and choosing to be miserable or whatever. But no, I knew it was more than that. I knew. Definitely felt it. And I asked God after all this meditating, I asked him, I said, why? If you've warned me about things like this in the past, why didn't you tell me about this, And he said, because you've been doubting. You've been doubting a lot of what I've been telling you lately. And if I had told you, you wouldn't have believed it. So I've just left it up for you to see the proof from everything else, and everybody else is hearing the same message. This is fine. I said, okay, yeah, you're right. I have been doubting. I had been doubting a lot that God was sharing with me about people in my life, experiences, things going on. If that's you, you're stuck in doubt, you're doubting all of this, still unsettled, in the belief that this is not going to come. Let me just tell you, all my life, I have been very scared to share anything really about my faith with anybody because I care so much about what other people think. I like to act like I don't, and yet I do. And I don't anymore. I've never been on a frantic, whatever you call it, going around telling everybody that I know, going on my phone, social media, going through all my contacts and sharing this message with as many people as I can. I've never gone to random people's houses around my neighborhood and put up links to something very specific, actually. A website that my brother created. It's called 2025rapture.com. I'll put a link in the description or something like that, or in the comments, wherever. But that website I've been sharing with as many people as I can. Just getting the word out because we are so short on time now. And if I could feel bad thinking that I wasted time, when I could have been warning people about this sooner or done more over the years for the gospel. But I knew that I am here where I am now with my career goals, what I had, and the people that I met specifically so I could be a witness to those specific people and the specific audience that I was trying to reach. I knew that was my calling, was to focus on secular music to reach the secular crowd because there's a large audience in that. And I love music, and that was my dream, to create a band, be in a band, make music, and I made it happen. And now, yeah, I know that that was my purpose for a reason, why God put me on the path that I did to bring me exactly where I am now. So I don't look back on it thinking, oh, I wasted so much time. Yes, I could have done more, like many people, but everything has a reason and a purpose. I made these little, I don't have them with me at the moment, but these little mini little paper flyers that I cut out, and I've been giving them tape to people and taping them on doors. But I spent all of last Saturday, not all of last, sorry, a good amount of time, probably a few hours, making these and cutting them out. And a specific number, once I counted them after making them, I was just curious. I'm like, how many of these did I make so that I can maybe account for how many people I'll be able to reach with these? And at the end of me making them that day, a very specific number I counted, all of them, was 123. 123 little flyers with my brother's website on it, 2025rapture.com. I haven't given out all of these yet, but before the 3 days of darkness is going to happen, which I believe is going to happen on the 21st, my goal is to finish sending all of these out. That's a very specific number. I felt that God wanted me to warn 123 more people than all the people I've already shared with. So I've had other confirmations too, like I don't want to make the video too long, but some cool ones. There's been so much at this point. Confirmations myself and my family has gotten, and signs, the typical license plate signs, very cool things. My sister, who owns the channel Rizio, that's spelled Riseo, she put her Rapture and Testimony on her website. I'll probably share it here as well in description and comments. And her video's really cool. But she talks a little bit about some of the confirmations that she's gotten. One in particular, her and my mom, very cool. But me personally, it was last month, towards the end of August. One of my favorite bands, Balu Brigada, has just released their debut album. It's called Portal. And the album cover of that album is a door. It's an open door. If you've ever seen it, look it up. The album Portal by Balu Brigada. And it's a door that's open and there's light pouring out of it. There's a song they wrote, they released, called What Do We Ever Really Know? And they literally say in that song, you can look up the lyrics, you can watch the video. I recommend watching the music video because the music video seems very specific to me. Literally, I don't even know if it was their intention. I think it's God just using secular music to give me a sign. One of my favorite bands that I was watching so avidly, was like, I'm gonna use them to give you some confirmation signs. So there's that song, some of the lyrics in it is, if the world is frozen by October, be my baby till it's over. If the world is frozen by October. I thought that was very specific. And the music video, you can check it out, is with these like bodies that look like they're illuminated. They look like they could be spirits or souls, the way that they depict them. At one point, it shows in different views that they're literally like flying through space and into this portal and open door. The day that album was released, or it was either the same day or a few days after that album was released, my dad mentioned something about the symbolism of a door. And I believe, you can look this up too, I believe the symbolism of a door, I might include it in the description too. The symbolism is basically God. It's God and how he is the door, he is the way to life. He is the open door that you can knock on and you can enter into, to the light, to life. I believe that's the meaning of it. If I'm wrong, I will put the description in, or I will put the meaning in the description. But another thing too that was really cool was, these were the two biggest ones I would say, because I was like, what? I couldn't make it up. The artist Sombr, Sombr, he just released a debut album. And I kid you not, if any of you have been watching the signs, paying attention to the signs, you should know very well that Israel is turning 77 this year since it became a nation. And I've been seeing the number 77 all over ever since, not just in regard to Israel, but different things in scripture and things that are going on that revolve around 77. Kid you not, if you look at the videos that he has released for the official visualizers for his album, for some of the songs, and also on the literal album cover, he has a shirt he's wearing that says 77 on the front and also on the back. 77 has nothing to do with the album, because I listened to the whole album. As far as I know, I'd have to double check, I guess, some of the lyrics, but I don't recall it having anything to do with that number very specifically. And he's in a very strange pose as well, where he's covering his ears like this. And he has a very angry expression. I thought that whole imagery was strangely specific and very strange. Very highly coincidental, I would say. So yeah, check that out. The albums, I never knew her, I think is what it is, by Sombr. Check out those two albums and those two artists, because those were some weird coincidences, but I think God was using those two artists that I'd been really listening to for the past months to say, well, I know this is you've had your attention on this, and I got to get it somehow. So I'm using this. In conclusion, I just want to let you know that me and my family have been looking out for this event all my life, and we've had times where we thought maybe the rapture was coming, but we've never been prompted like this to go out and share this information with people. I know the biggest thing is fear that you would be wrong. I think that's the biggest reason why people still don't believe, is because of fear that you will be wrong and ridiculed. I say you've got nothing to lose. You don't have forever. This is it. Time is finished. And what are you really losing if the rapture happens? As good as this life may be for you while you're still here, heaven is beyond anything that you could possibly imagine. And to die is to gain. And we don't have to die. We can choose to believe. And that's what Jesus has been telling me to do. And so I believe. I choose to believe because I want to live. We don't need to die. Those that have been chosen, if you choose to believe, you can be spared from that. And even if you don't believe now, I think there's going to be a second chance. I believe there will be a second chance, but it would be better to leave now than to face what's going to come. Choose to believe. You've got nothing to lose. I wanted to leave you with something very special. Nobody's doing anything like this, at least I don't think so, not from what I've seen, but this is something that I've only known that I do myself. I don't know anybody else, and I haven't encountered anybody else that does this. If you happen to know of somebody that does, I'd love to know. If you want to leave a comment to share that. But for those of you who know of speaking in tongues, the spiritual gift of doing that, I've been doing something over the years that was strange to me. I thought it was just something weird that I did, where I would sing some random melody that would come to me, and I thought I was trying to sing in like Latin or some other language that I didn't know. I was not aware that all this time I was actually singing in tongues until I met some other believers who heard me doing it, and they said, that's tongues. So I don't know what you'll think of it, especially if you've never heard tongues before. It'll probably sound strange, but I wanted to share it with some of you who may be stuck in the darkness still. The darkness that I was once stuck in, and I was not aware that I was even stuck in it. I used to sing this for my best friend and my boyfriend when he would be under attack by Satan and demons. He would call me when very unnatural things would start to happen, and I knew he would be under attack, so I would either ask him to call me or I would call him, and I would start praying for him. But then eventually sometimes I would just start singing in tongues. I just thought one day, hey, maybe that would do something to fight back against this attack. Turns out demons hate it. And I think for those of you who maybe still be stuck in a darkness and you're not even aware of it, I'm hoping that maybe this will help to break you out of it, shed some light into maybe some oppression, maybe. I hope you'll be open to hearing it. It may not sound the best on my phone, but This is the best means of recording that I have, so. Mevial la vodre seyalen avia la tremana aviselon adruan seyan la montruali senal fulan truaveyan senan Medriano truan seyan Navine truan sen le montuvleano come sin fatremen sonder frile antorma legendean visian Avian le mon sodremen let fiat truel le fiat sodremen Ave intria sualen Commune scia promboselen Levian Dejan Sevian Votrua ma visiteia Levia Vatrua Servia Lia Dulemen Avesan Live to I missed that last note.